All right, welcome to another episode of Asian Americans. I'm your host for today, Randy. With me is Mr. Arthur Han. Art for short.
Art, yeah.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah,
it's been so long. Maybe about 30
much.
years? Well, maybe not that long.
Not that long. I think I seen you maybe
at your restaurant not too long ago.
10, about 10, 12 years.
Oh, man.
Great to see you, man.
We're both all grown up now, right?
Thanks for having me.
All right, so I guess we could start off, jump right into it. Can you just introduce yourself and tell us where you were born and raised?
Okay. I'm Arthur Han. I'm born and raised in the city of Montebello, still currently residing there as of now. I'm the executive director of the Han-Schneider International Children's Foundation and also the co-founder of Liquid Swords.
Awesome. How about your parents? Can you tell us a little bit about your parents?
My parents migrated from Korea around, I think, the early 70s, mid 70s. I was obviously born here, lived a great life. Unfortunately, my father passed away in 2012 after a long battle with leukemia, multiple myeloma. But you know, he lived a very great life. I think he found a lot of fulfillment and purpose toward the latter years of his life, being that he was the one who founded the Han-Schneider Foundation. And my mother was just, you know, your typical housewife, by father's side, whatever support he needed, whether it be business, taking care of the kids, taking care of the meals at home. You know, she took on that responsibility greatly, and you know, I have nothing but love for both my mom and my dad.
Great.
Yeah.
So what was your upbringing like?
It was great. You know, I was in the public school system, and you know, did all the normal things that a kid would. I was involved in sports and baseball and basketball. Grew up, graduated from the same high school where I was born at. I went on to USC to get a business degree. From there, started in the restaurant industry because I had found a big passion in just being around food. I love to cook, first of all.
Nice.
I would love to host. I would always be the one inviting people to our home to hang out.
Cool.
And at the same time, I would want to cater and cook for them and serve them. So it was just something that was just always in me. I just love to cater and host people. And so I was like, I would like to open up a restaurant one day. So obviously didn't fall back on my business degree when I graduated. So went into a management role for a sushi restaurant called Kabuki. Did that for about 4 years and got my restaurant experience there. Took a break from the restaurant industry, then I went into real estate and kind of fell back on my business degree in real estate and went into private equity and mortgage consulting. Then from there, just wasn't happy with the corporate life anymore, and realized that, you know, maybe now's the time where I can pursue my passion of wanting to open up a restaurant. I was still very fearful and not confident at that point because it's something I've never done. I've managed a restaurant, but having to open up, you know, one myself,
Different beast.
I have no idea what that would be like and the amount of capital. But obviously I executed a plan. I thought things out. I tried to prepare myself as best as I can. Was able to find, you know, a restaurant for sale locally around the area where I lived. And then from there started a restaurant which was called Far East Joint back in 2014, which you probably came by a couple times. Yeah.
Wow. How long did that last?
We had it for about 4 years before we decided to sell.
Okay.
So it was a tough run. Don't get me wrong. The restaurant life is a beast. You have to be truly passionate, dedicated, long hours, no holidays, no weekends, nights, grimy, dirty work. But I loved it.
Cool.
I just think the biggest mistake we made when opening it was we rushed into it a little bit too fast. And we didn't put enough analysis and thought into the location of where our restaurant was. I think if maybe we were in a better location, we would have done better than, you know, where we had. But thank goodness we had a great following, a great customer base, and we were able to sell the restaurant to another family who was just as passionate, who continued on the legacy of our recipes, our menus, and items, and they did well, which is great.
Where did you get the recipes from, or where did they come from?
Just stuff that I would cook up at home.
Okay.
The old sushi restaurant that I worked at, we served a lot of great food outside of sushi.
Yeah.
In proteins, different salads, appetizers. So just seeing that on a daily basis for 4 years, and then incorporating my little flair to it, and just came up with the concept. So Far East Joint, we specifically specialize in specialty French fries. Okay. Like the most hearty, junkiest French fries that you can just divulge in and love.
Sounds good.
And just flavorful, crispy chicken wings.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Just food that I love to eat.
Sounds like it was before then, the chicken wing craze of
before it blew up. Yes.
Oh, wow, you were ahead of the game. So let's go back a little bit to your childhood. Did you grow up with a lot of Asians or non-Asians?
Growing up in Montebello, we were predominantly Hispanic community. There was definitely Asians in my school. I had Asian friends. But it was mainly Hispanic. So I had a mix of Asian and Hispanic friends growing up all the way from elementary school through high school and college.
Okay,
it was pretty diverse.
And did you experience any of the Asian gang culture that was prevalent during the 90s and early 2000s?
Yeah, in junior high, obviously my group of friends, those were the years where, gang life and gang activity was pretty prevalent. It was, I don't know, in my eyes, like you were cool if you were from a gang, and you were tough, and you wanted to stand out that way among your peers. Sure. So obviously I had friends who had joined gangs. By all means, I was never officially jumped into a gang, but I was constantly around them. We got in trouble together. We've gotten arrested together. So I did all the dumb shenanigans that any young teen adolescent would be doing, thinking that he was a gang member, but I mean, I wasn't no real true gang member, It just, the persona and the thought of it is like, to feed my ego. I hang out with gangsters, I fit that too. Yeah. Looking back now, I'm just like, what an idiot,
Kind of like a sense of belonging, maybe more.
Just to like, I don't know, just like, I'm tough, like I can handle it too, And every time like we were getting in trouble, or if we're getting pulled over or committing a crime, it never felt comfortable. I knew it was wrong. I didn't feel good about it, but it was just, maybe it was just the peer pressure because everyone else is around it. You don't want to be the isolated one out who doesn't participate, just like the belongingness to make sure like, I'm down for my own, and I can do it too.
All right, so I shared a little bit about my own personal experience with drugs during high school and being a latchkey kid. Did you have any similar experiences, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I did a lot.
That you care to talk about?
No, I mean, I've done my fair share of drugs. I mean, growing up, I was a pothead. I think I had my first joint at 7th grade. Wow. Which was pretty early. Yeah. With a couple of my friends. One of my friends had brought it to school. He had gotten it from his dad, or he had stole it from his dad's stash or whatnot. Went to the park after school, didn't know how to roll up a joint or anything. We're just all trying to figure it out on the fly, and looking behind our back if there's any police around, because it was a big thing, and I was only 13 at that point. Yeah. So we, I think, rolled the ugliest joint. And then I remember smoking it and taking a puff and just choking and coughing and tasting it, and it was just like, I've tried cigarettes before, but just like weed had a different smell and the taste, and it was harsh, and it just, obviously my first experience wasn't great, but I think the fact of peer pressure again, I realized it wasn't my thing. I think we only took like maybe a couple hits each, so I don't think I really felt the effects of it, and I don't think the quality of the weed was great anyways. So I don't think I got the true effects of it, but because my friend had such easy access to it, it was like he brought it out again, and then we tried it again. And then since your friends are doing it, like, come on, you got to do it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up just doing it, and yeah, from what, 7th grade till like getting into high school. High school is where it got really heavy.
Oh yeah.
Our group, started to be the group where we would buy bigger amounts and start supplying and selling to all the other kids at school. So we became that, cool crowd of thinking we were like wannabe gangsters at the same time, and selling weed and dope on the campus. So we had stature,
You're right. Did you ever get caught?
I did. I got arrested. I got arrested a couple times, but there was one time I got arrested in 10th grade, which was pretty major. With a couple of my buddies were on our way to a house party at my friend's house, and because we're the group that always supplies the parties in the school, I was the first one to get the license out of our group, so I was the one driving and having to pick everybody up. And obviously all the drugs were stashed in my car, and we were just at the gas station randomly to pick up some ice and supplies for the party. Another one of our friends happened to pull up to the gas station at the same time they see us, and they wanted to get some of the product. And we're not even thinking, so the product stashed in the trunk in my dad's golf bag. Stuffed it into his golf bag, I remember. The trunks fling open, you have 4 or 5 guys huddled around a truck, and it just so happens a cop was driving by at that exact moment. Saw us, obviously it looked suspicious, lit up the lights, sirens came. Immediately, like within 2 minutes, like 4 cop cars came, said back away from the car, put your hands behind your head. Did the whole, search of the vehicle on us, and, found a bunch of acid, which is a huge crime having back then. And it wasn't small amounts, it was a large amount.
Wow.
And found a bunch of weed, and at that point, it was me and 2 other buddies in the car. So we're being questioned separately, right? Because they're trying to find out whose it is. All of us are not admitting to it. That's not mine. I don't know whose it is. Well, it's your car, right? It's your dad's car, right? You're driving it. It's like, well, who's this? I was like, I don't know. And they asked my other friends, and I guess they were saying the same thing. So it was just going in a circle. So at that point, it was like, all right, we're just taking all of you guys in.
Wow.
So we got taken into Monterey Park jail and doing all the processing. And they're in the process of transferring us out to the juvenile correctional facility. It was called Eastlake at the time. It was like the nearest one. So while we're waiting to get processed, I don't think we had called an attorney. They were just gonna process us, and then we'd have to do our time and then wait till our court date came. But it just so happens we just got lucky, and I guess for some reason they got noticed, like, oh, we can't transfer these individuals, the facility's overcrowded.
Wow.
So we got a break, and they're like, you know what, you guys are lucky tonight. Like, we're gonna be able to release you back to your parents. So they cited us with transportation, distribution, and sales, controlled substance. And I guess the transportation and sales were like felony charges, so they're pretty major. Which is why we weren't supposed to get released. We have to automatically transfer into the prison system. But we just so happened got lucky, and I remember as soon as we came out, my mom and dad were at the station, and my mom just came up to me just crying, just hitting me on my chest. Like the cops, I remember, like, had to kind of hold her back, like, no, you can't be doing this. She was just so sad and disappointed, and I remember just seeing the look on her face, and I looked at my dad's a scary person, and like, he's the last person I want to look at, and I just looked at him. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get a beating when I get home. So that happened, and obviously it was just so severe of the gravity of what happened. Obviously my dad didn't beat me, and it was just more of like, damn son, you really messed up on this one, like, what are you putting our family through, and your mom and your sisters, and it was a really scary moment. I'm sure. So I was involved with, obviously after that incident, I still smoked weed, I still did drugs here and there, but I still always knew I had to handle business. Take care of what I have to do in school.
Okay.
I wasn't going to be no deadbeat, and like, you know, my parents ingrained in me those values and principles, like handle business at the end of the day. Yeah, you're going to get in trouble, you're going to make mistakes and make dumb decisions, you know, it's bound to happen. But yeah, I knew I had to handle my responsibility.
Cool.
So at least I had that from my parents to know that, you know, I have to do something with myself.
You're a high functioning stoner.
I don't know if I was high full. I just, you know, it gets to a point where you just enjoyed it, and it's just a community. You know, once you have a group of friends that's what you guys do when you guys get together, and you know, we had fun with it. You know,
sure.
Irresponsible at times, but you know, I wouldn't have changed any of those experience and moments.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, right.
So what'd you? I guess we'll go back a little bit again. What'd you do after high school and college?
So graduated from college, and then I went into the restaurant industry to get the management.
That was immediately,
yeah. Then, but my business background was in real estate development.
Yes.
You know, going in like my early college years, you know, I wanted to be successful, and I was trying to figure out, you know, what industries would provide me the best chance at, you know, making money while I'm still enjoying it. And at that time, you know, I had friends who were like in the real estate, like realtors selling homes, and some in commercial. So I was like, hey, you know what, I could do this. You know, like I'm a people person. I like to talk. I like to speak to people. You know, I think I can do real estate, you know, pretty well. So obviously I did the restaurant management first because I knew in the future I wanted to open up a restaurant. So I wanted to get that experience. Then after I left, I went into the real estate company and did real estate brokering for a commercial firm for about 2 years. Then from there transitioned to a mortgage financial company where I was raising private equity for this private mortgage firm. And then also doing like mortgage origination for people buying homes and doing refinances. So did well, you know, it's like making good money and happy. But obviously I still wanted the autonomy to be my own boss and my own entrepreneur. So I knew that eventually I needed to break away and, you know, maybe eventually start the restaurant at a certain point. But during that time, my father was diagnosed with cancer. And his original diagnosis was, I think, around 2004-ish. And he battled for about 10, 11 years before it finally passed away. So the doctors didn't give him much time in the beginning. And I think during his diagnosis, he was trying to figure out his purpose in life and, you know, what his purpose here is. And my father didn't grow up a great life, which he provided me and my sisters. Give you a small background about my father. He grew up an orphan in the streets of Korea when the war broke out in the 1950s. He got separated from his family because his village area is where all the chaos, gunfire, bombings. So everyone's just running and scrambled, trying to find safe haven, shelter, and just to survive. So during that escape, he got separated from his mom and his sister and wasn't able to find them.
That's horrible.
He was 5 years old.
Oh my God.
And I mean, I can't imagine, you know, he said, I was homeless on the streets, going from household to household, farmer village to farmer village, knocking, asking for food, looking for work, help me find my family, and did that for several years. He said he would be living next to like trash can dumpsters because that would be the easiest and quickest way to find food. And he did that for about 4 or 5 years till he trekked his way to Seoul in Korea to one of the main university hospitals. Went in there looking for a job, and it's like, I think he was at 10 years old at that point. Went in there looking for the job, spoke to just a random receptionist or secretary who was there. Hey, I'm homeless, I'm on the streets, I'm hungry, I need work, can you give me some type of job? So he's like, no, you're talking about how old are you? He's like, you're 10 years old. Where's your family? Where's your parents? It's like, oh, I'm homeless, I don't know where my family's at, I got separated. So during this time, this is going on, and some of the hospital directors, I guess, were walking by and got involved. And one of those directors at that point was my potential grandfather, who was an American soldier that was stationed in Korea to help rebuild their educational system after the war had ended. So this American soldier, his name is Arthur, hence where I was named from.
Yeah, nice.
Brought my dad into his office and was trying to hear his story and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Long story short, basically, this American soldier said, I'll take this boy into my home, I'll take care of him, and do the best we can, and in the meantime we'll try to help and locate his family.
Yeah.
So my grandfather basically brought my dad into this household, started caring for him and loving him, and mind you, they couldn't speak to each other at all because of the language barrier.
Yeah.
My grandfather was American, my father only knew Korean, and I always asked my dad, I was like, how did you make it work?
Yeah.
And he's like, love is the most powerful language that
Universal language.
it speaks to everybody, and your grandpa showed me love that I've never experienced before, and that's how we communicated.
That's amazing.
Just hearing that and just hearing their bond and how they grew up.
Yeah.
My grandfather basically took my father in and raised him as a son from 10 years old on. So at that time, I think about after 3 years, my grandfather's work term was over in Korea, and it was time for him to come back to the States.
Yeah.
He wanted to adopt my father and bring him back with him.
Yeah.
However, during that time, it was very difficult for basically a U.S. citizen to adopt a foreign-born child and migrate them over to the United States.
Yeah.
Let alone you would have to be married in some sort, but my grandfather was a bachelor at that point, so there was another barrier and challenge.
Yeah.
But thank goodness my grandfather was very well connected politically in the political system through his educational system.
Okay.
He was also served as an Air Force Colonel General for the World War II. So he had he had a lot of merit and credibility. So he had some friends that were senators at that time. He's like, hey, I want to adopt this boy. He's from Korea. Can you pull some strings and make it happen? So they drafted a private bill in favor of my grandfather to adopt my dad and bring him over to the States. And that was the first time in U.S. history that they allowed someone in his position to adopt a foreign child.
That's incredible.
And bring him to the States.
Awesome.
So yeah, my pops lived, a great life here in the States.
Yep.
My grandfather schooled him all throughout high school, university, and my father became a very successful entrepreneur and business person.
Do you know? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you know if your father ever found his?
He did. Eventually, later on in life, through the help of my grandfather, they were able to locate his mom and his sister, and eventually was able to migrate them over.
Wow.
So they're all reunited.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really cool story.
Yeah.
So sorry, coming back to your question, is my father was battling cancer. He needed to figure out a newfound purpose. And obviously he grew up a pretty rough upbringing and homeless and being orphaned. He realized, I think once after he got his diagnosis, that he needed to give back to society. So he decided to initiate and start the Han-Schneider International Children's Foundation to just serve and protect orphans and unserved children in developing countries, to provide them safe haven, nutrition, education.
Yeah.
So he initiated the foundation in 2008, ran it for several years, started programs in North Korea. We're one of the few organizations serving the orphans of North Korea through his connections, which we did some amazing work out there.
That's great.
And then in 2012 is when he finally was coming to an end with his battle with cancer.
Yeah.
Obviously he knew his time was limited, and he asked me a few months before he passed, he's like, I really feel like my time's coming soon. So I need to have this conversation with you. Is when that time comes, could you step into my shoes and continue to, serve these children and continue my purpose?
Yeah.
I told him at that point, like, I'm not the right person for the job. I'm not passionate like you are. I didn't grow up an orphan. I don't know what it feels like to be homeless and digging through trash. Like, you did that, and that's why you have this. You provided me and our sisters a great life, and you need somebody like someone that has a driving passion and a fire inside their heart like you do to run this organization, and I'm not the right person for the job.
How did he take that?
He understood. My dad was very just rational, and he understood. He's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not forcing you, but I needed to ask you at least, for peace of mind.
Yeah.
So during that time, he just he was a little bit stressed out, trying to find somebody to fill his shoes and step in, and he wasn't able to find any candidates. And then obviously the time came where he finally had passed away, and our dad was. Oh, he's a shining light. My dad was a special character. Just a big heart, full of love, just always wanted to help and just give back. So after he passed, I was depressed and I was sad. I was lost. I was like, should I be stepping into his shoes?
How old were you?
I was 2012, so I was about 30. Yeah, I was 30 years old. And I'm very religious, so obviously at those moments I just prayed a lot, and asking God for guidance and strength and just help me figure out like what my path is and what I should be doing. And I finally woke up one morning, I think it was about maybe 2.5 months after he had passed. I think just the signs were slowly starting to show itself, and I woke up one morning, I'm like, you know what, like, let me at least just give it a try, because it was so important. My dad had started so many great programs in Tanzania and in North Korea, and he was doing such great work, and I was like, you can't just let all this go to waste, So I was like, let me just go in and give it a try. So that morning I woke up, went into work, didn't even really think much about it, went straight to my my director and said, sorry, I gotta turn in my resignation. Just cold turkey on the fly. And she was like, what are you talking about? Where, what's, like, do you need time? And, no, it's just, this is, like, she understood what was going on with my father, and he had passed.
Was that when you were in real estate?
That was when I was doing the real estate, yeah. So she's like, you know what, take as much time as you need. If you ever need a home, like, know that you can always come back. So I always knew I had that to come back to, which made me feel a lot comfortable and confident. So I was like, let me go give this a try. So decided to step into the nonprofit world, and I'm clueless. I have no idea what to be doing. I was involved with my dad with events and the foundation, but like running it as a director and going out soliciting donations and events and all, it was overwhelming, and I didn't even know where to start.
For sure. Was there like people or a board or whatnot that you could go to for advice or help?
Yeah, we had a board, which it was groups of my dad's friends as well, but they're a lot older, and I think it was hard for them to see someone like me come in and step into the role and try to command ship with minimal credibility and experience, and so the relationship with the board started to disconnect, right? But they were a big part in to help bring in funding to the organization to continue to run the programs that we were doing, because we were providing huge meal programs to like 6,000 orphans in North Korea, another 1,100 orphans in Africa. So there's money dependent, like flow of money was a big dependent of us to continue the work of my father.
Right.
So at that point, there was my dad's kind of intern assistant, Zach, who I approached when I decided to make that decision. And I told Zach, hey, I was like, I'm thinking about continuing to try to run this, for Dad at least however long we can. I would need you by my side, to do this. Like, do you have the bandwidth to be able to do that? And, he was truly passionate, because he was working as an intern, not getting paid, helping my dad on the side as a young, adult as well. But he had the burning passion. So I wanted to feed off his energy and his motivation to help boost me.
Nice.
So he's like, I got you, man. It's like, whatever you need, you tell me, like,
Great.
I'll be by your side. Let's continue this on.
Awesome.
So we're doing, I obviously got into the work. I started trying to meet with as many people as I can in the industry, try to learn, to get guidance and mentorship. And we throw a benefit dinner every year to just give thanks back to all the supporters, and at the same time showcase what we have planned for the next year and what's going on in the programs and how their support is just impacting all these kids.
Yeah.
So that year we did a special tribute to my father, because obviously he had passed away. We scrambled to throw the event, being that, you know, my father had a lot of supporters. They wanted to come out and show love and respect because he had passed away. It was a tribute.
Yeah.
So I think it was our biggest turnout ever. I think we had like 350, 360 people come.
Awesome.
Raised a lot of money to continue on the programs.
Yeah.
So to see that type of support and me like getting in there and organizing and putting a fundraising event is not easy. It takes a lot of manpower, organizing, different vendors, and you're dealing with a slew of things.
Yeah.
But being how successful and the support we got, man, it boosted me. I'm like, okay, these are the signs I need to see. Like, okay, maybe I did make the right decision.
Yeah.
So we're getting into the work, we're doing it, but every day I wasn't passionate about the work still. I'm just doing it because I said I'm gonna just try to do it. But I was like, someone has to be passionate. Like, you have to love what you're doing to be able to do this. So I told Zach, I told him my thoughts and how I was feeling. I'm like, I don't feel it. Like, I don't think I should be doing this. And he's like, no, you just gotta stick it out. It takes time. And I was like, I need to do something different. And he's like, what? I was like, let's go to Africa, bro. I was like, I need to see these kids. Like, let me see firsthand of how we're impacting and doing these kids. He's like, you serious? I was like, yeah, let's do a mission trip.
Awesome.
He's like, okay, I got you. He's like, how do you want to do this? I'm like, I don't know. So I was like, let's talk with the directors. Anyways, long story short, we scrambled it. I spoke to our directors who were boots on the ground running the school program in Tanzania.
Okay.
I said, hey, I want to come out and possibly bring a team out there to do some work and meet the kids and meet you guys and do that. So in a matter of 4 months, I put together this mission trip program, gave an open invitation to any one of our supporters to come and journey along with us so they can see firsthand how their support is impacting the lives of these kids. And we didn't have a huge turnout. I think there was 9 of us that went.
Okay.
But you know, I thought it was just gonna be me and Zach going at that point.
Yeah.
But 9 people came, and that made me feel like so motivated and supported. And we're trekking over to Tanzania. It was like a 22-hour flight. We had to take 3 different flights. It was a long trek.
Yeah.
We arrived into Tanzania hot. It was a summer. When was it? No, it was in March. Okay. So Africa's still warm in March. So it's still hot. And we arrived at the airport. The directors came, picked us up. We trekked about a little over 3 hours to the school site. It's a town called Arusha, Tanzania, where we had my father had established a small clinic, medical clinic, preschool, and then a church. Wow. So I got to meet the kids, and you know, it just, man, seeing a different culture. Like, this is Africa, you know, and I've never been to a culture like Africa. And what we see, like Africa in the streets, like poverty-stricken, structures made out of just sticks and huts and all that. That's exactly how these kids, mud huts, sticks. So obviously it was like my 4th, 5th day. I got to bond and start to meet with some of these kids. And then there was this one girl, Nagashe, who was in the 5th-year-old classroom. And for some reason, she's the one that just captured my heart. You know, like I bonded with her. I fell in love with her. And I think she felt the same way too, you know? And there was, every morning I go to the playground. There's a playground where the kids, you know, come walk from school. And so, mind you, some of these kids walk hours to get to school. Right. Trek on their own sometimes. Yeah. So I wait on the playground for the kids, giving them high fives, playing with them, all the apparatuses. And then the gate's like maybe 100 yards away from their entrance gate. And I'm at the playground. And I look over there, and then I see her walking through the gate. So I lock eyes with her. She locks eyes with me, and then she just starts running, man.
How sweet.
Just running, and she just comes to me and she just hugs my legs. I still get the chills every time. She just hugs. And as soon as I felt like that spirit and that love, I just looked up to the sky and I was like, you know what, Dad? I know exactly why we're doing this. Right. And that was the moment that clicked, and it's like, that's the passion that grew in my heart. And I was like, man, we're gonna continue to serve and do great for these kids. And ever since then, that was what, 2012 till now, we're still operating the foundation. We've grown and expanded. At a certain point for about 3 years, I was operating it full time. But obviously because the disconnect with the board of directors, funding wasn't coming as fluid as we were comfortable. You know, I wasn't able to make a living at that point because I, you know, was in the process of getting married and having a child, and you know, there's no way I was able to support that, you know, doing that. So that's when I had to step up from a full-time role to more of kind of just voluntary role, but still maintain the programs. And then that's when I had started the restaurant.
I heard you worked at a bank and chased down a robber. What possessed you to go against bank protocol like that?
Oh man, that's a story too. Wow, where did that come from? I was a teller, you know, just doing a job. It was a Friday evening. I remember Friday evening. We were getting ready to close. It was like 6 o'clock. There's, I think, like, I was the only teller open. All the other tellers were shutting down already. I was serving a customer, and then there was one other customer in line. Right at 6 o'clock, the protocol is you gotta lock all the bank doors, and then you have to escort your customer out to the bank. So I was finishing up with my customer, escorted her out, came back. Or I didn't escort her out. One of my colleagues escorted her out. Then I called the next customer over. And the next customer comes over to the window. Older gentleman, he's probably in his like late 50s or so. Just comes over with a jacket, his head down, and just comes on. And I look up, I was like, hey sir, how can I help you? And he just slides over a piece of paper and it says, this is a robbery, give me all your money. So man, my heart just drops. I'm like, is this really happening right now? So I look at him, he looks at me, and then he has his hand in his jacket like this. He's like, I have a gun. He's like, don't do anything else, just give me all your money. So I'm panicking, like I freeze. I don't even know what to do. Like I'm just stuck, I'm frozen. So I think he notices like, oh, this guy's not doing what I need him to do. So I have my cash register, right, a drawer in front of me where it holds the cash. It was open. So he just lunges over the counter to grab whatever cash he could. And then me immediately, just off of reaction, I just slam the drawer in his fingers. So his fingers are all stuck in there, smashing it. And these are metal drawers, too heavy. So I knew it had to hurt. So he's just like fighting what he can to like get his hand out of the register. And then he finally flings it out. And at that point, we're closing too, and I messed up because I had cash on my side thing, because you can only close with a certain amount of cash in your register. The extra money you have to count out, and then it goes into the main vault. So I had that money out, which I shouldn't have. So then he sees that money, and then he jumps the counter again, and he grabs that, and he starts booking it towards the exit. We have 2 entrances to get into our bank. So he just starts booking it towards the entrance, and me like an idiot, I'm just not thinking. I jump over the counter and I run after him. I don't know. I think it was just, he took something of mine, I needed to go get it back, and I don't know if I wasn't trying to be a hero. It was just, everything was off of instinct. I didn't even have time to think. So this guy's booking it towards the exit door, I guess thinking that it's gonna fling open when he hits it, but you know, lo and behold, it's locked. So he's running at a full force, and boom, he bounces off the door, and I'm charging at him at full speed too. Like I'm trying to like catch him. So he bounces off, and boom, I hit him and I ram him back into the door. There's a new accounts desk right there at the exit. I pick up a wooden chair, like oak wood chairs. I pick it up, boom, I break it on him. My other bank tellers, my bank manager, they're screaming like, oh my God, what's going on? They're on the phone, I think at that point, like trying to call 911. They're pressing the silent alarms and everything. So I hit him with the chair. I pick it up, I hit him again, the chair breaks. So then he picks up one of the broken legs of the wooden chair, and it's like sharp and spiky. So he picks that up
Yeah.
and he starts trying to swing it at
Oh,
me.
wow.
So I'm like backing up. I'm like, dude, what is going on? And I pick up the metal partition stands that have like a rope to like, you know, for the lines for the customers to wait in. So I pick up that thing, but I didn't realize it's so heavy. Like the base is heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to lift it up. I'm like, oh, I can't even swing this thing. So then I throw it back down. And at that point, he tries to swing at me. He drops the weapon that he had, and then he runs all the way across to the other side of the exit. And same thing, that door's locked. So he's running over there, and then me, I chase after him again.
Like-
Exactly the same thing. He bounces off, I tackle him back into the window. Then I back up. I was like, hey, you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna go anywhere. The doors are all locked. The cops are. At that point, I think I realized he didn't have a gun because I thought he would have pulled it out by that point. I think he was just like, oh, dude, I need to get the hell out of here. So at that point, I like suddenly kicked into me. I backed up. I was like, hey, you're not gonna get away. The cops are on the way. Just leave the money. So then he walks back all the way to the other side of the entrance, and then I just let it be because I'm finally calmed down a little bit. He figures out how to unlock the door. And he unlocks the door, then he runs out, and then I go run after him again. I'm like, I can't let this guy get away. So I run after him and I tackle him onto the concrete. And right at that moment, all the patrol cars pull, all the sheriff's department. It was like 4 or 5 of them. And then I'm thinking I'm a cop. I have my knee on the back of his back. I have his hands like holding down. I was like, don't move, you're under arrest. The cops got it. Like, okay, we got it. Yeah, that was my bank story. And the crazy thing is one of the sheriffs came in and asked me came to talk to me, and he's like, hey man, no matter what anyone told you, it's like, you did the right thing. Oh, like, wow.
I thought he was gonna say you want a job.
Like, you did the right thing. I was like, really? He's like, but I realized then, like, because I could have jeopardized like my life and how many other lives in the bank.
Well,
just
that's why it's protocol.
Trying to be an idiot, an idiot. And 1 week later, that next Friday, we got robbed again. But this was like a full takeover. There was like 5 guys that came in, standing on desks with masks. This time they had guns. They're showing their guns. Everyone get down on the ground, and I learned my lesson. take whatever you need to get, and that was my bank robbery incident.
So obviously that's amazing.
Crazy,
so obviously you didn't get fired for breaking protocol.
I didn't. I didn't even they didn't reprimand me. I didn't get called in. They asked if I needed like counseling and therapy. They offered all that. I had to go into court and testify. The FBI got involved, so I had to go do a line out pickup of who the suspects were or who the suspect was. So I had to go do all that. But I didn't lose my job. They didn't tell me like, oh, you messed up or you shouldn't have done that. Like, I didn't hear anything. I was like, wow. I was like, okay, maybe they should give me an award for saving
it sounds like it.
Saving all this money for you guys.
All right, so great story. We went into the restaurant stuff, but the cannabis industry. How did you get into that business?
So I sold a restaurant in about 2017. I was over it. I was just burnt out, tired. It wasn't doing as well as I was expecting it to. I was consulting with my wife at that time. What should we be doing? I think she was on the same page. Our son was born the year prior to that. So, when you own a restaurant, somebody always has to be there. Like an owner operator has to be there just to manage and keep things safe. So we never got to spend time together as a family. One of us was always stuck at the restaurant while the other one was caring for the child. And obviously I was at the restaurant more than she was because she was nursing. And I wasn't happy. The quality of life wasn't there. And obviously since it's not doing as well, like that's just gonna push you down a deeper hole. And I was like, I can't do this no more. So thank goodness we were able to put it up for sale. We still, had good numbers to show to the potential buyers that ended up buying the restaurant. And we sold it to another great family, and they continued to run our recipes and our same menu and the longevity, which was great. And then at that point, one of my other friends was involved in cannabis at that time, and I wanted to jump into cannabis. He wanted to exit out because he was feeling the same way about cannabis the way I felt about restaurant.
Okay.
I was like, how about we expand off the cannabis and the cultivation? So he was open to the idea, so we partnered up and we decided to build a cultivation facility together. And yeah, we grew a lot of cannabis product and eventually started a brand together and did that well. And having any type of partnerships, it gets messy at points and times. And obviously our relationship started to point in different directions and the conflict started to arise. So at that point, I decided to step away and try to preserve what we have left of our friendship instead of mixing it with business. It was a hard decision, but I realized it's probably needed to happen. So we decided to part ways, and then from there, that's when I decided to start my own brand, Liquid Swords.
Yes, Liquid Swords. Tell us about that, and show us anything that you can that you brought today.
So Liquid Swords is just a really cool, unique cannabis branding concept that I felt not a lot of brands out there in the industry were doing. With my partners for Liquid Swords, we really sat down long and hard of what can we do differently but still provide a great experience to the consumers. So we thought that a collectible concept, because the Pokemon cards, the baseball cards, like this collectible industry, the anime market, figurines and all that was just so big and popular. So we thought, how can we bring that concept into cannabis? And lo and behold, we created Liquid Swords, influenced by Wu-Tang. Obviously, Wu-Tang was a big influence in my life. I grew up listening to all of their music. So when we came up with the brand name, we were in an office throwing ideas, exchanging ideas between my partners. I saw we had a poster of Shaolin monks, like doing acrobatic exercises. And I just looked up, I was like, Liquid Swords. And then my partner, Brian, that's it, bro. It's like, stamp it, it's good. So Liquid Swords, and we had the brand name. We're like, okay, now what do we want to do? I was like, let's make mini samurai swords.
Awesome.
And let's include that as a collector's item. And let's design everything around Liquid Swords, but let's add something to it. So we started adding ideas as well. And obviously from an Asian background and an Asian influence, the yin and yang principle came to mind. And I started doing research on what yin and yang really meant. And it's just about bringing balance, peace, and harmony into the world. Bringing different walks of life, different cultures, but combining it, fusing it together so we can be one community as whole.
Nice.
And what better way to do that than with cannabis? Because cannabis brings people together, Like I grew up, we all smoke a joint together. It goes in a circle, it gets rotated, it's community. So that, yin and yang concept fell in so perfectly in line with Liquid Swords and like the Shaolin monks and what their energy is all about. And then we started trying to figure out like the packaging design. What do we want it to look like? What do we want the pre-rolls to look like? And lo and behold, this is our packaging.
Yep, beautiful.
We have a yang collection, a yin collection. And at the same time, there wasn't a lot of brands out there catering to the female community.
Right.
And the female cannabis community is huge. So we thought like, hey, let's create a nice, really beautiful package to reflect the females and their beauty and their value to society and the cannabis. So we created a geisha collection, packaging designed specifically for the female so they can feel appreciated. So this is our product. This is our first edition. It's called the Samurai Edition, which is why all the packaging and the designs look like samurais, but very elegantly designed.
Nice.
Inside each one of our packages comes with 4 pre-rolls that are all designed to look like samurai swords. It also comes with a mini collectible metal samurai sword. And the concept behind our brand is we have 8 different colorways in our product. And the goal of the consumer is to try to find and collect all 8 different colors. So think of it as like you're trying to find the best Pokemon cards, or you want to get the whole Pokemon collection. We built a high technology app specifically for liquid swords through a QR code that will track how many times you purchased, what color sword you've unlocked into your sword locker, and that app will keep track of what swords you have and what you're still looking to find.
Amazing.
Once you complete the campaign, you will get notified, we'll get notified, and we will gift you the most dopest, coolest care package personalized to your name, to your liking, to your colorway. And one of those items is a life-size katana sword that we will engrave with your name. You can pick your color, and it's just a really cool, unique design that
So
the consumers are they're loving it.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of thought and detail into it.
Totally.
Beyond just the collectible concept, it's first and foremost the product has to smoke well. We have to make sure the consumer is enjoying the smoke, because if the smoke is not great, all of this other stuff has no relevance. So we're very proud of the flower that we have. I partnered with my great brother Brandon from Originals, who's a pioneer cultivator in the Los Angeles area. So all of our product is infused with his flower, with our concept, and we have liquid swords, and thank goodness we're getting great feedback from the community, and it's just fun. Like with the brand, I can have fun in cannabis, and I can like be a kid again. I can relive my memories. I can design packaging that relates to me, but relates to so many other people at the same time. And at the same time, you get to have a little collectible, cool little toy and be rewarded for it. So
it's so
super
original.
proud. We're super proud of this brand.
So unique. I love it, man. What are some of the future goals for your company?
We hope to expand. We just launched this year in January. So our hope is to just get outreach more with the cannabis community, educate them about our product, meet with more business owners in the dispensary level to introduce, and hopefully they'll be interested in carrying our product and shelving it on their display space. And yeah, hope is just to expand throughout California. And if California does well, is to find operators in out of state of California, and hopefully they want to join forces with the Liquid Swords brand and be able to expand in other states as well.
I see you have kids now.
I do.
What's the most difficult thing about raising kids today?
A lot. The world's changing rapidly. To be quite honest, I'm very worried about raising my children in today's society.
Sure.
I think the technology is just so far advanced. And I think there's benefits to it and disadvantages at the same time. But for my personal opinion, I feel like the disadvantages far outweigh the benefits of what we're getting from social media and what our children are learning. Because we're working parents. I'm sure there's many working parents out there. And we're out working 8-10 hours throughout the day. Our children are at after school programs or school from 8 to 10 hours a day. So there's only so much that we can do as parents to nurture and raise our children. The rest of their learning environment is through their peers and their schools. And if everyone's not aligned and on the same page of the principles and the morals and the values of the community and how you want to raise your child, you have to battle with those outside influences. Right. So it's been a challenge. We're trying to do our best to, I guess, ingrain the old-fashioned values, but at the same time I realized, like, man, our world and the way we grew up, we can't ask them to grow up the way we did. We have to learn to adapt to their life and their technology as well. But we have to screen and monitor it as best as we can, because there's just so much information, great and not great information, that's feeding into our children. And if we don't have enough strong foundation to influence them to know and respect home nurture over outside nature, then it's going to be tough with those battles and the learning lessons as the children grow.
Sure. So how do you manage fatherhood with running a business?
My kids take priority. My business definitely is, I could definitely put a lot more effort into my business, but because my kids' sports activities and practices. You know, I take pride into that, into taking them there, being them there, watching them, encouraging them.
Cool.
So, you know, like my work days are short sometimes, and I really see how that's affecting business as well. But thank goodness we have a great team within Liquid Swords and the foundation where we can still continue to do the best we can. But I myself wish I could be way more involved with my work, but you know, I realize I'm not going to get this time and moment back with my kids. So I'm happy to make the sacrifices to be with my kids over work.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. How do you feel about the current state of the economy?
Man, tough. Like, I'll be totally honest with you. Like, you know, Liquid Swords in the cannabis industry that's a tough time right now. I definitely feel uncertainty with where the industry is going. I feel uncertainty where the economy is going, and
in general,
I'm sure you can agree. I'm sure many people could agree. It's hard making a living, you know, and I don't know, with everything going on in the media and the wars and the disconnect and just the divide getting bigger and bigger, like, the message that the world is trying to send is a wrong message. Like, we need to come back to doing work like foundation work and spreading love and bringing community together, not trying to separate and divide us and keep us against each other. And with the way inflation is going, like, you know, I can't go out and do the normal things that I would normally do with my kids. Like, now it's like, we can't go out and do it because we can't afford to do it, you know, and it's tough. I'm really worried of where we're going as a society and economically wise. I think we're all feeling the effects of the recession and inflation. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we all are. What kind of adjustments or pivots have you had to make in today's environment? I guess in terms of your business.
Yeah, I mean, business wise, just now, because like we're having to focus so much on sales. And because like cannabis is a recreational activity, right? So you're using your disposable extra income to be able to spend on things like this. People don't have the extra disposable income to be spending on this now because they have to pay for gas and groceries and rent. So now what we're having to do is we're having to take more off our margins and sell our products to the stores at a cheaper cost than where we normally would have, so we can in turn offer that value back to the consumer, so the consumer feels like they're getting a good value when they're purchasing our product. And that's, you know, that's where you have to pivot. It's like, if you even have to break even. If, I mean, there's certain points where we might even have to take a loss to at least sell and move the product. But those are the things that you have to do and pivot now in the industry just to stay afloat. And you know, that's one thing that we're doing on the business side, is working with the shops more to offer better pricing. I'm working on the internal side of how can I make things cheaper for us to produce this, but not jeopardize the quality and consistency of our product, which is a very hard thing to balance. So me and my partner, we're both in there putting the product together. Instead of hiring 2 or 3 other people to do it, we'll just both go in there and do it ourselves. Like, those are the pivots that we're having to make in today's society.
Knowing your dad meant a lot to you, if he was still alive today, what would you say to him?
I'm just grateful for the role model that he was. You know, I'm not gonna say my dad was a perfect father. He had many flaws. We all do, but I feel like his goodness and the purity of his heart overweighs the flaws that he had made. And I'm grateful that he got to show me what it feels like to give back unconditionally. Because him working for these children all around the world, not knowing them, but just off of the pure love of his heart, wanting to make sure that they have a little bit of a better enriched life, a meal to eat, a day to attend school, a cup of water, a clean water to drink. that's unconditional. He's not expecting anything in return. He could be doing this for free, you know, which he did for many years in the beginning until he was able to build up the name and the foundation. And I got to see that type of unconditional love, and I would tell him, thank you for showing me that.
Great. All right. Last question is, if your kids watch this interview 20 years from now, what would you like them to know?
That I'm not a perfect father as well, and I have many flaws, but I want to be better. I want to learn from my mistakes. I want to be a better role model, and I would like to teach them and show them how to love and give back unconditionally.
Well, all right. I want to thank you for being
so
here
much,
and
Randy.
being so open and genuine and great.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Of course. Thank you for being here again. Asian Americans.